Howdy, friends and floor heads. It is Thursday night, which means it's time to play Forbidden Lands, the longest running single campaign on this channel. 21 episodes, this being episode 21. I think we should just start playing. So it was midday. You've returned back to the Hollows. Things have changed since you've been here a week or 2 weeks or so ago. And after kind of getting the lay of the land, there was a decision to maybe head up to go to the kind of that cairn graveyard towards the small mountain in the northwest corner of the Hollows. But on your way there, Vasila decided she wanted to check in on the midwife, Nervia. So, Vasila, you went to the front door. No answer. You noticed the windows were shuttered. You conned Aldrich into taking you around to the north side or the back side of the hut where you had a little bit more privacy, where only the graveyard had a clear view of you. And he hoisted you up to the window, which we found a new skill for Vasila. She's got a little thieving skills. She picks Aldrich's pocket for a pike and goes ahead and jimmies the window open. And as you opened the window and propped it up and looked inside, we saw several things. One, we saw the midwife bed where she would help deliver babies. We saw her bed made, did not appear to be have slept in. We saw all of the dried herbs that were hanging from the rafters of her hut. We saw a small table in the center where she probably eats and things like that. And then we saw just her curio cabinets full of all kinds of different potions and things as such. And as you're looking through, and maybe a half second before you've made a decision that you've looked at everything, you see her hand. And just peeking out from under the bed.
I'm going to whisper. And then I'm going to go in. So the window is kind of like propped up, right? With
Propped
like
into
this
the
little
inside,
like.
yep.
So I'm going to try to scramble in. I'll look at Sten because everyone's in the back now. Is that right?
I believe so.
If you motion us all back, yeah.
I'm like, Sten, grab the window. And I'm gonna like get in and like drop myself into the as quietly as a small halfling can quiet.
And it's impossible for me to let you do this without a roll because you should always ask for a roll as a GM if it would be interesting if there was a failure or a success. So it sounds like our goal is to safely get inside of this hut and drop down from the window, but also quietly.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dave, let's talk about your approach. What are we going to use to accomplish that?
To me, it seems like it would be a move, right? Because I'm gonna like try to swing in and drop down quietly.
Great.
So I think that's probably the best.
And I saw our 6. Now you could push it and take 2 damage if you want.
I could. That is a possibility in the system. That is true.
So again, we're seeing a whole new skill set for Vasila, right? She breaks into the window and then slyly she comes through, and I'm going to have those 2 potential banes there just being like the raw nail that you just barely miss as you're going through. And you drop to your feet at the on the floor of the hut.
Cool. I'm going to sneak over to I'm going to drop down and look at the bed so I can see where under the bed.
You look under the bed, and we saw the hand, which you assumed was hers. And looking under, it's definitely her. Now you can see her. She's on her back. Her head is turned away from you.
I'm going to I'm gonna do the angry mom whisper in the grocery store. Midwife, it's me, Vasila. All right. Is she pallid? Is she like?
She was pretty pale skinned to begin with. So just looking at the hand is really the only flesh that's visible because what she's wearing is sleeved all the way up to her wrists and her head's turned. So you just see her black hair because her head's turned away from you. But
All right.
looking at the hand, there's nothing indicating anything other than it's not moving.
All right,
Craig,
then I'm
we
going
were
to.
just saying last time that we finally found another nice person. I'm very disappointed in
Okay,
you.
Brian, you have no idea what's about to happen, so you need to shut up.
Yeah. I mean, she might have been
That's
able to
right. She
turn into
just
an
sleeps
animal,
under the
but she
bed
had to
all the
die.
time.
All right.
That's
It's very
totally normal.
So I'm going to take a look around the the hut and just kind of make sure that I'm not about to get jumped on by Rust Brother or some such.
Yeah, so you kind of poke around, and I'm not going to need a roll for this because there's not a whole lot of places where another person could be hiding. This is not a very large abode, so it takes you 10 seconds to just kind of look around and see, is there any other place where somebody could be hiding? It does not appear. Even look up into the rafters, and you don't see anybody.
All right, then I'm going to head on over and try to touch her hand. I'm going to keep the midwife, it's Vasilla. And then, when I get close, try to just touch her hand softly, not slap it, not poke her, just see if there's warmth.
There isn't. It's cold.
Natural. All right, so I guess I will. I'm going to go back up to the window, grab a stool or something so I can get to the window, and I guess Aldrich is looking at.
Yeah, I'd lend a hand out for you to get back out.
All right, she's dead.
She's in there?
She's under the bed. She's cold, dead.
Oh. What the? Well then.
Then we should get out of here before anybody shows up and see us with our hand in her window.
You make a compelling argument.
But don't we want to know who killed her?
Yes. Are they in there? Did they leave a note saying, I did it?
No, but could you see if it's magic, Aldrich?
And just kind of do the. I don't smell anything.
I don't smell anything either. Natural, which means she's not been dead long.
And that's true.
How quick would a cadaver excrete lucid spells? Quick, right? It's pretty fast.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. With my medical training, I feel like that would have been something I've been briefly touched on.
Yeah, and as far as smelling stuff, I didn't think about that aspect of dying, so that should not be used as a forensic indication. That's a GM oversight. What I'm saying, she doesn't smell decomposed.
Got it. Cool. All right, so I'm going to try to hop back out of this window. And now that I see the nail there, I'm going to try to not stab my hand on it as I climb back out of the window.
And you get out without any trouble. We don't need a roll. You got Aldrich there helping you.
And we'll close it back up. What time of day was it? I don't remember. Is it
noon-ish?
Noon.
Yeah, noon, 1 o'clock. Just
All
after
right,
lunch.
so she came in. We haven't slept here yet, which means she showed up and died. She walked in the door. She got murderized.
God,
and the door was locked.
Sure.
She was here yesterday. You guys spent
Yeah, she got home last night.
Because we stopped to make sure Sten was healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she was pretty powerful. All right, well, let's not dawdle if we're not going to investigate. So
she had that bird. Do you see? Is there a bird cage or feed or tracks or anything? I'm standing right here.
So we're gonna get going. So we're on. I'm gonna grab Sten's hand and skip like I'm a child, and he's like my grandfather taking me for a walk.
Okay, where are we headed?
I'm pulling
Question.
up the hill towards the teeth.
So through the graveyard and trying to head up towards the cairn.
I wouldn't say through the graveyard,
Adjacent to the graveyard.
around the graveyard.
Well, along the border.
So the four of you continue on. As you're walking through the graveyard, you look to your right and you see the gravestones. What?
And
Go
there's
ahead.
no sign of like foot traffic and there's no sign of like the door was locked, all those things, right? We looked at all of that.
Nobody checked if the door was locked.
Did we? I thought we did.
Someone only knocked.
Oh, we did. Okay, pick it up.
There's no sign of forced entry though.
Not that was seen in the cursory look. No.
And nobody answered the door, and we jumped straight to breaking and entering.
Naturally.
As you do, I guess.
I mean, was there blood? Could you see? Was your throat slit like the other ones?
I would defer to the Craig's visualization of the scene. No, it was just a cold, dead hand. It might have been a fake. I didn't take long to examine it. I mean, she has, skill.
Regardless, there's a dead body under her bed.
Right.
The further we get away from that, the better.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, is anyone else out on the road, like around in the village, doing things?
Normal Hollows business, right? So we see, people going up and down. We see traders moving through. Just normal commerce as it was 2 weeks ago.
Cool.
Is there anybody like out in the streets like pointing at us going up the hill saying, oh God, no?
No, nobody seems to really be paying much attention.
Oh, good.
Good.
So as you guys head the path, go ahead. I'm sorry, Dave.
So those big barges, I was just thinking, what would happen if the river water suddenly got onto them?
They would be wet? Or are you talking
How
about
wet would you need
you
to
talking
make them
about
so they would?
sinking?
Well, I mean, sinking such a direct word. But you're as observant as always there, Papa Sten.
Can you stop with the skipping? I mean, barges are built. I mean, they're flat. They're more or less like a raft. They're hard to sink. Why do you ask?
Well, because the only good Rust brother is a dead one.
I agree with your point, but I don't see what that has to do with the barges. They belong to Ulm now, remember?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Ulm, definitely a good guy that's not on the take.
Well, yeah.
For sure.
I'm
When
just
did- when did-
saying,
when did
a
Ulm
nice
come into
lady
that?
that helped us when we were sick and almost dead ran away, and now she seems to be dead under her bed. And there's these magical barges that got here way too quickly, and Ulm magically got the good beer recipe and got the good
I'm
inn.
not saying he's not part of it. I'm just saying that random sabotage isn't going to help us figure out what's going on here and who's on whatever side.
All right, fine. We'll put it on the list. I'm gonna be like skipping stones and like playing in the street, like I am a small child. I'm gonna like throw them at Sten's feet while we're having this conversation. And then I'm like, all right, and I'm gonna just like turn around and start skipping up the hill again.
So you guys go past the graveyard, and it's as you remember it, of course, looks much less ominous here in the light of day versus the evening. Though you do see that the graves themselves are in different conditions, and I mean some have fresh dirt piled on them, some have are overgrown, and you guys have found out firsthand why that is. That's because just because the grave was dug and laid 100 years ago doesn't mean that you might not have fresh dirt tomorrow morning.
Are there any like dwarf bones off in the distance over there, or was that all gone?
There does not appear to be any
Hmm.
dwarf bones based on where you are.
Hmm.
So the trip up the hill is a very tight path. You have to go single file, and it kind of twists through the rocks as it takes you slowly up. And at the hollows, they call it, the mountain, but it really is only about 40 feet up. So it is not by any stretch a mountain. It's just the highest point of the hollows, especially considering the hollows is where, two rivers connect. So there's a bit of a downhill to get there, right? Towards the riverside. And as you get up there, you find again those standing stones that you saw the first time. It's a series of 8 standing stones, all in a circle around.
How many gods were on the shrine before the old jerk faces showed up?
I don't
A
remember off the top of
bunch.
my
I
head.
don't know that we counted them.
Just,
Did we count them?
Yeah.
I know we were told their names, like as in players. We
Yeah.
were
Some
told
of
their
them,
names at one
yeah.
point, but I don't.
Let me. You'll remember it here in a second as soon as I bring it up.
Magically, I'll remember.
Yeah.
The one that really
Anyway,
stuck with me was Whale.
Right.
And the Nightwalker.
And
Oh, the
then
Nightwalker was
Nightwalker. Oh,
Yeah, that was the boogeyman kind of
Yeah.
thing.
So,
So, I wasn't part of I watched the video of you guys doing this, but B, I'm conflating we actually got here in the home game when we played a couple sessions. So, did you guys examine these with a great extent?
we didn't have a lot of time the last time we
I
were
feel like
here.
we didn't
Right,
actually
because
make it up
Mayor,
the hill.
Mayor
Yeah,
Angry.
we
Mayor
Yeah,
haven't
we
made
never
it
we
up
didn't
yet.
we didn't get up here. She stopped us midway down. Only 3?
Cool.
Yeah, 3 gods: Whale, Flow, and Nightwalker.
Okay, got it. That makes sense.
Right. And was Rust there before? Or Rust
It's there
I
now.
know Rust is
It's
the only
not
one
there
now.
before.
Russ
Yeah, I
was
know it's
not there
now.
before.
Okay. So, well, now that we're here, what do they look like? Are they carved? Are they dripping blood? Are they coated in foliage?
Are there any magic tinglies?
So each obelisk is in different condition. Most of them old and falling apart. There doesn't appear to be any carvings on them. They seem to come up out of the earth and almost kind of lean in a little bit. And they sharpen as they go up, though some of them have broken off from there. It is a nice plateau where they all are, which is obviously not natural. So at some point this was leveled, this area was leveled, and whatever this standing stone temple was built on top of it. You still to the north have the rest of the face of the mountain that continues up, and the trail stops here, but there is a bit of a ledge off to the south to your left.
Is there anything in the middle of the stones, or is just kind of flat, empty ground there?
Some dead leaves, things like that, but it doesn't appear anything ceremonial.
There are no markings on any of them?
There are not.
Is there any sign that anyone has been here or been camping here or anything like that recently?
Give me a survival roll.
I can do that, he said, traditionally just before making a terrible roll.
Oh,
Oh,
pretty good.
there we
2
go.
successes. Okay. There are tracks as you kind of look at the dirt, and it's something that I don't think anybody else would have noticed, and you probably didn't notice until you said, I'm going to look to see if there's tracks, right?
Mhm.
And tough to say how old they are, but you do notice the short cadence of them and the sliding, dragging nature of it. And with that second success, it's probably the dead, right? So Doesn't look like there's nothing here that makes you think somebody of your size that walks with the same gait that you would walk has been up here. So it does look like there's been activity up here, but may not be with the living, is what your best guess is.
Does it look like they're going anywhere in particular, or just kind of around?
Mingling around.
All right. Well, Sten would certainly point that out to the group. Looks like the dead have been walking up here of an evening.
But they don't get
Maybe this-
buried up here.
No, but maybe this is important to them. This is where they gather. I couldn't tell you.
Nor is there fresh dirt, so they have to
Wasn't
walk up here every night.
wasn't there mention of like a lord or something that might
Yeah,
have been among the
Duke.
dead?
The Count.
Hold on, Count.
Somebody talked
That
about
was
the
it.
Count. I know
Yeah.
Miss Palmer was anxious to keep us away from these. the
Count
last time we were
Nabala,
here.
Nebula,
Nepola.
Napola.
Nepola.
What
I
if,
did not
what
write
if
that
this
down
is
correctly.
their
So bad at
tomb,
spelling.
essentially? Maybe-
And what I got remembered out of the tales was that they were traded to the people of Raven's Land from the Demon War. And we know that it wasn't Om that told us. It was the old tracker that you made friends with.
Mhm.
Vike.
Yes, and I
uh,
don't think he told us. I think he told Sten.
Right.
Hmm.
And then
I
Sten relayed.
I remember him mentioning the Count. I don't think he ever gave me the name.
I think I have it written down, so I'm assuming he did.
Okay.
Or I may have just given it.
I mean, sure,
No.
could be.
Anyway, but because the Count's going to get angry, right? And that's the reason why their family's trying to bust out of here.
Are
in the
we
next
assuming
day.
Sten shared this information?
He said
I mean,
they were-
yeah, I recapped you guys on whatever we talked
Or
about.
Vike told you? Okay.
yeah.
So
Um,
perhaps this is like a great burial mound.
Could be, although there was one particularly large and ostentatious crypt in the graveyard, Greg, if I remember right.
There was, yeah, but
okay.
most of it had been broken to pieces, so it was almost half put together. So
Okay.
no indication that there's still a sarcophagus in there. And
Right.
We're-
I'm just that was my assumption that had been the important person's burial place.
gotcha.
But
yeah,
it may-
and if this is any type of actually, Vasily, give me a lore roll.
yeah. Lore roll.
I love it when you guys use up these successes right now. This is good. So 3 successes. And so I'm imagining Vasila kind of dawdling around, walking between the stones, and you're not sure where you read it or what song this is from, but 2 things become clear to you. One, this is definitely a temple, right? This is definitely a holy place. Though you can't piece together for what or for whom, but it's a special place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's typically built as an entrance or near the entrance to a crypt where somebody very important would be kept.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to
gateway before you get to the actual crypt.
right. So this is the entrance, standing stones kind of thing. All right, I'm gonna stop right where I am as soon as I remember it, and I'm gonna like sing out the because I imagine it's part of a song. I'm gonna sing out like the little catch of the verse, like the little couplet that I remember that gives that information. And like, I remember. Do you remember old Nan? You know, the one that would like always made the best socks that were the warmest. She passed away maybe, I don't know, 5-10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
She used to sing that as a nursery rhyme all the time.
You think it means something?
I mean, it came to my head. Probably. I mean, there's something weird about the gods here. There's something weird about like
Weird
Rust
about
is
everything
trying
here.
to do something. And you don't smell burnt toe hairs or whatever it is that you.
No burnt toe hairs here. At least not out here.
I'm gonna, Craig. I'm gonna go walk along. You said there was a little path extending to the south. I'm just gonna go along that a little ways and see where that goes.
And it's a little perilous. It's almost not wide enough for your feet. So it's one of those situations where you're going to have to kind of cling and stay close to the side of the rock behind you. And as you approach it and kind of measure out, Sten, how am I going to kind of traverse
I
this?
mean, I have rope if it will be helpful to try and tie to something.
Yeah, and maybe you look at it and go, I don't even know if I want to get on this, but
right.
It looks
But
like
Priscilla,
it looks like
you'd
Sten,
fit
I don't
just
need to roll
fine.
for this. It
Mhm.
looks like it's been chipped away.
Like deliberately, not weathered.
Right. So you get the feeling that this used to be wider, right? And it was either dug away or chipped away and made considerably smaller. You feel relatively safe getting on this and kind of going around the corner. She'll take you slightly out of sight of these standing stones. But when you thought rope, I don't necessarily thought that was a bad idea either, right?
Sten, cautious? That doesn't sound right.
Right,
And this
exactly.
is like we came up from south. Let's
Right.
say
So you came from like the southeast,
east.
and this kind of extends to the
cutting down
southwest.
So
southwest.
this would be looking back over some of the town.
Yeah, you definitely can look out and see all of the hollows from where you are right now.
And there's a face of essentially the next tier of the mountain to
It
the
continues
north of
up,
us.
right? But not much farther up, only another about 10 or 15 feet up, and then you can see where it tops out. So you're towards the very top of this thing. You're about 30 some odd feet in the air.
And there's essentially a wall, I guess, that would be.
It's just the continuing of the face. So this was flattened out. So
right
at some point, this part of the mountain was removed to create
just a ledge on the mountainside.
There's no odd like doorway engraved into the side of what would be
not
the
from
face.
where you can see now.
Well, only when the thrush knocks on Durin's Day.
That's
right. Speak friend and enter.
So yeah, Sten will sort of go into his backpack and uncoil the rope and hand Osric one end of it and say, well, whatever's on the other end of this pass, somebody didn't want people going there, but I feel like it's worth taking a look.
I'll loop my end around my waist and hold taut.
Okay. Probably won't need it, but hang on tight if you hear a sudden scream.
And Sten, here's a situation where you might call for a roll, but in my mind there's no rush, right? So there's no pending danger. You're a capable person, so I think you would take your time. So no roll needed. We slowly see Sten inch his way around the ledge, and Osric, even though you might be trying to keep sight of him, eventually he gets out of your sight, but you have got the rope still, right? And you feel the rope pulling as Sten goes across. What's Aldrich and Vasilla doing?
I think I'm probably muttering that same phrase of the song to myself to see if I can loosen up anything else. While I'm looking back over the town and making sure that we aren't like gathering the onlookers.
You're not, but there does seem to be 4 or 5, and it's hard to tell from as far away as you are. There seems to be 4 or 5 people near the entrance of the midwife's hut.
Oh. Hey, Craig, can you remind me how we knew it was the midwife's hut?
She told us.
Yeah, and it was pointed out to you when you first got to the Hollows. I think
Okay.
Olm mentioned that, kind of gave you the lay of the land. Here you might run into this person, run into that person. So
Right.
it's kind of that 2 pence tour that he gave of when you guys came to
the first time.
3 Skulls. Yeah.
Okay.
So Vasilla's kind of looking out over the Hollows. What's Aldrich doing?
I think Aldrich's just kind of, like investigating the obelisks. Not really probably finding much of anything, but just kind of giving them a good look over once over.
And there is magic here.
Okay.
So you do taste it.
Interesting.
Sten, as you are inching your way around you now are starting to look more towards just the valley. So you've even lost sight of the hollows. The edge of the hollows has now gone beyond your sight as you worked your way around this mountain area. And you can then see it widen again.
Mhm.
Right. And you get a sense of how wide this was. And it was easily a 5-foot wide pathway that was etched around this. And
So
you can,
somebody put a lot of effort into
yeah,
blocking this off or
and
cutting it down.
it must have been, you know, spades and chisels, and this was broken away. And it's obvious how fresh the stone is and unweathered the fresh stone is where this was chipped away.
Oh, so this was just recent.
Your best guess, it easily could have been in the last couple weeks.
Okay.
When it widens back out, you come to a flat, sheer face. And you can see like a 4-foot by 6-foot stone door. And you can see the edges of it. There's no indication that it is hinged. There's no handles. The impression you get is that a stone cut the exact shape of the frame was, you know, pulled in or pushed in, and this was closed.
Is there any writing or symbols or anything on it? And does that stone also look new?
No, it looks just as weathered as the stone surrounding the frame itself. So this looks undisturbed.
Right. And the path more or less ends there, right? It goes
It
right
ends
up to it.
directly there. It leads directly to this pathway.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll just take a quick look to make sure there's no exciting levers or carvings or plaques or anything else. And if it's just, you know, blocking up, what does it look like a natural cave entrance, or does it look kind of squared off like it may have been
It's
carved?
definitely squared off. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is definitely squared off. And as you kind of just, you know, getting the lay of the land, right? Looking things over. I'm imagining a little nudge
Right.
on the stone that's blocking it.
Mhm.
It's heavy. It's there, but it has a little give. So I think the thought you might have is that I can't move this damn thing, but maybe me and Osric, or maybe just Osric, or maybe me also, you know, it doesn't, it, and you see like the dust kind of
Right.
fall and off just on your pushing.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to the group. This is not something I want to further experiment with on my own. I'm coming back.
Be careful.
Oh yeah. So assuming nothing untoward happens on the way back, you know,
You're
again,
fine.
taking
Yeah,
my
you
time.
make it back.
Well, it's definitely some kind of crypt or chamber or something at the end of this, and whoever wanted to make it hard to get to did it real recently. It's all plugged up. The stone.
They have to know about this in town, right? That would take it would make noise.
Oh yeah,
I
I'm
feel like
sure
they'd be,
they
like,
couldn't have.
crumbling.
And Craig, check me on this. I don't think this is a thing that could have been done without people in town noticing.
That'd be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
Yeah. So
Do you think your buddy, your old man club, would be able to?
I can ask him, assuming he's not dead when we come back down.
No, I'm going to assume that she's crafty enough that it is it's not her. She put in a decoy. Where we're going to believe for a little while. She can talk to ravens and stave off magical illness.
I can talk to ravens too.
Yeah, do they talk
Trick is
back?
getting them to talk back.
Really explains a lot about you, actually.
Well, I'm still a little bit peaked from the last couple days, so even if we do decide to investigate this thing further, I think we should get a little rest first. And frankly, I'm curious to see what happens after nightfall.
So we have a Dave question. The old trapper said that they would, or not Trapper, the old
Vike?
Vike.
Hunter?
Hunter Vike.
Yep, Game
He
Master.
said there was a day left before his family would go. It wasn't tonight that they were going to run. It was tomorrow night. Is that
I
correct?
believe that's what he said. Yes.
Okay.
Mm,
Two, Vasilla time. While we're by ourselves, without extra ears, what are we gonna do about the brothers for real? Like, if they come back and they are in force, they don't
We
like
can't.
us,
We can't fight an army.
No. If we see them coming, we got to leave.
right? So
I'm happy to take them on, but it's not the kind of thing we can do in a frontal.
One or
war.
two at a time.
Right.
right. So we need to keep watch at night then,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Yeah, we can't all be
Mhm.
asleep at the same time. We got to just treat it like we're in the wilds.
Yep.
But a little more comfortable.
Let's hope.
And someone here is for real a mole. Like, there's no way they got here in time with rafts. I knew what was happening. And if they chipped away this pathway, which sounds like they probably did,
Someone
Somebody.
did recently. Yeah.
right?
I have a
Sure.
feeling this was, a planned schedule where the death happened, and it was someone's like, all right, well, if you're going to be here on Wednesday morning, we'll kill them Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's they used to tell stories about people that believed that that kind of thing was luck. Suckers all.
Yeah. So now the question I have is, we come down off of this path, we're going to be going right back past the midwife's hut.
The new activity there at the midwife's hut.
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
Have to, right? The only
Yeah.
way down.
If we're
Unless
not
we
going
want
into
to
the,
wait up here for a while, and
into the
Walk
horrific
casual.
stone crypt.
I
we're
don't
that.
want to stay here after dark, so
God,
you
God,
guys
There's
no.
no bells up here, guys. We have to
You
go
guys-
back down.
Head down the path, and I am going to advance this a quarter day. So let's put ourselves in the third
Oof.
quarter. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do that. All right, so it's about 6 o'clock in the evening.
Hey, I'm gonna have to hand off the
Do you want
scepter
to pass the stick?
of whatnots to somebody who
What
has
does that do to us?
agility and wits is the answer, and I am at my wits' end.
And it's a heavy one.
It's normal. I can go ahead and take it back since
yeah,
Aldrich
I'm down
usually
to
sleeps
2
early.
agility right now, and I would rather not.
All right, Aldrich. Way to go.
All right, so
Proud of
I'll
you.
go ahead and take the scepter.
Yep.
We'll worry about the mechanics of it.
Uh-huh.
Just go ahead and take the damage to
Yep,
your
I did.
wits and agility. You guys work your way down the path.
Wait, I have 2 that I've taken.
To what?
2 damage to agility and wits,
Okay.
but that's
So
the
four-
first 2 quarters of the day. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah, this is the third
Of the
quarter.
day. We've entered the third. Okay,
Correct.
there we go.
You guys work your way back down the path, kind of go to the western border of the graveyard, headed south back into the central part of town, and you come to Nervia's hut. And like I mentioned, there's a bit of a crowd there. It's now grown to about 8 or 9 people. It's mostly women that are there, and there's a few of them are crying. And as you walk past, you see that the door is open.
What's happening?
Younger woman, maybe mid-20s. She goes, she's dead. Murdered. Someone
Murder?
murdered her. It's the third murder.
Oh, no.
Who was it?
They took Yawim. They said Yawim killed Sturkis. They said Yawim killed Miss Palmer, but Yawim's gone. And we have another one. Someone else has died. Nobody's safe, and the dead are angry.
Has
What,
Ohm been told?
No, I'm sure he's. I don't know. I haven't seen him.
What, if you don't mind my asking, how did it happen? Was she cut like the others?
No. There's no signs of any of that, and Vike is in there, and Vike seems to think that that she was choked or strangled.
That's terrible.
And as she says that, Sten, you see Vike stepping out, and he's kind of turns to one of the women and says, "Get some fresh cloths. We need to put together some wood. Let's go ahead and get in touch with Ness, and we need to build this woman a pyre."
Do we know who Ness is?
The blacksmith.
Yeah.
And he kind of just Vike steps out and just kind of gives you kind of an acknowledgement, Sten, that he sees you and you see him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure he's there are a lot of women are still asking him questions and stuff and kind of hanging around.
Yeah, but that's kind of wrapping up. So if you want to get his attention, you could.
Yeah, I'll give him, give him a couple minutes, kind of stand there with my head down as though I'm in prayer or contemplation or whatever religious people do.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the crowd kind of thins out, I'll head over to him. And any idea who might have done it?
I have to say, Sten, at this point, we're running out of suspects because everybody's dying. Between you and me, I thought she had killed Sturkis. She's a Raven sister. I don't know whether you're aware of that or not. And I know that Sturkis knew she was a Raven sister. And my understanding is that they had a peace together to coexist. She did not interfere with him. He did not interfere with her. But when Sturkis was dead, and then she was gone the next day, I thought for sure. But she was responsible for that, though I don't think she would have killed Miss Palmer.
No. Did you find any evidence of that in there? I mean, there's no bloodstains in her house or anything that indicated she would have. Well, he didn't die here.
Yeah, no, and to be honest, I never even saw Sturkis's body. It was soon after, within 12, 14 hours of his death, the brothers all came.
And there doesn't seem to be anybody else strange in town that was here after the Rust brothers left.
No, I mean, we have far more people in and out than ever before. But I've got an instinct for people. Nothing too odd, and nothing timing wise that matches with this. I don't know. She hadn't been, I saw her came in that evening. She went into the hut. That's the last I saw her. I'm not even aware of who knew.
Do you think it might have been the dead?
It's too clean. It was the living. It was the living that took her. And to be clear, the dead, all they seem to care about are the taverns. So we're about an hour and a half away. You're gonna see Olm is gonna have the skulls boarded up, as well as the dead man's boarded up. And he's hired some of the younger men to stand guard to protect any people that are sleeping there. But that's where the focus of the dead is right now. Most of that unrest.
Let me ask you one other thing. Looks like there was some recent construction or maybe destruction up by the Standing Stones. Path leading off to an old tomb or something that's been worn away. Do you hear anybody doing that? Any idea who might have been behind it?
So he kind of chuckles a little bit and goes, so that's where you were.
Trying to find out what's happening here. Seemed like a place to look.
So took the Rust brothers about a day and a half. There was about 6 of them that went up there, and we saw the stones falling down, and we could hear the noises. And one of the kids ran up there after they had left and reported back that they had chipped away at that pathway that leads to the crypt. Why they would ever want to do that, I have no idea, and why they would have even cared.
Well, that might have been part of what's pissed off the dead, that or getting the old holy symbols thrown away. Did they take those with them? Did they burn them? Stuff from the shrine?
I honestly don't know. I was not there. That was one of those things where we woke up one morning and it was cleared out and replaced by rust.
All right.
But none of that's a surprise.
No,
But
it
how
might be a
those puzzles
cause.
work.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Where are you for staying here tonight?
that's the plan.
Why don't me and the wife get you set up in the barn out in the back? I think it'd be safer for the four of you than staying at either of the inns, and probably a pile of hay would be a lot more comfortable than tenting outside.
You sure she'll be all right with that?
She'll be fine. She'll be fine.
I've been married. I was married a long time.
If the little one there plays her a couple tunes, maybe tells a story or two. It's been a long time since we've had a night's entertainment.
I think that can be arranged.
So
just kind of reach out and give him a good solid, hand
yeah,
clasp.
and he gives you a hearty handshake back, and kind of does grabs your upper arm, right? So kind of a two-handed shake almost, and he goes, we're gonna be packing up and out of here soon, but in the meantime, there's no reason for us not to have a little party before we go. So if you can give me about an hour to let the old lady know, and she'll want to make a big to-do about it. So we'll give her a little bit of time.
Well, we've been living off dried fish and beans, so tell
we've
her
got
not to make a big fuss about the dinner. Anything will be better.
Well, you're due for some venison stew.
Amen.
Craig, but if there's space for me to get into the hut again without drawing way too much attention going into to find out, I want to go in and I want to see if she still has Sturkis' symbol on her.
Okay. So give me a quick stealth roll.
Don't screw this one up.
I'll push it.
So stealthy.
Phew.
Right. So walk me through the failure to the push to the success.
All right. So I think so. I'm imagining there's this kind of mass of people starting to clear out, and I try to be unobtrusive, and as I'm dodging out of the way, I accidentally knock off one of her little glass vials, and I catch it, but it cuts me a little bit, so I
Perfect.
start bleed a little bit, and but I catch it, and it'll just crash outside. I'm just
So you work your way in, and it's empty. So it's been cleared out. It looks like Vike might have been the last one that was in there looking out. And I don't know if he is the unofficial coroner, and his familiarity. He sees more dead things than anybody, being the the gamekeeper. You go and you can see that Vike has pulled her body out from under the bed. And you remember seeing on her belt with all of the different satchels and whatnot, that symbol. And you go over to the belt and reach down. No symbol. It's gone.
all of her pouches still there.
All the pouches are there, and you can actually see a bit of the thread, the rope, the twine that was tied it to her belt. You can see a bit of it there. So it's been removed.
I'm gonna whisper a quick prayer to whatever I believe in, which I don't really know because we weren't really very religious back at Oak Art. So roll out. Thank her for kindness, and our soul lives on happily.
And you, as you walk away and letting it sink in that, not only was she murdered, but she was robbed or stripped of something. I think that's a good place for a 10-minute break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. We are back as Vasilla leaves the hut.
Do we have any more like chores we need to get done? Well, we need to get you to sleep, right, Aldrich? If you're gonna be,
I'm pretty worn out at this point. He's like
Well-
he's rubbing his temples like the alcohol's catching up to him.
He said it was going to be an hour or two before.
He asked you to come
dinner?
back by in about an hour, so it'll still be this quarter day.
Okay.
And Craig, just so I remember, we don't believe that there's any sort of Rust Brother contingent staying in town after they all swept in and they all swept themselves back out.
That's the indication that you've gotten so far. Now, it's, and I don't remember where we figured this out, but it's likely Sturkis will be replaced.
Right,
Mhm.
right. I
That
think
was
we've
mentioned at some point.
it's been mentioned numerous times when he was there, right? That
Mhm.
if we got rid of Sturkis, someone would come back, right?
Someone worse would come. Yeah.
He was the replacement for the one before him. So
Yeah.
was there any indication about how many Rust Brothers were on this invasion?
I don't think anybody's giving you a clear sense, but Vike mentioned the 6 of them, not all of them, went up there. So I would say more than 6.
Ugh.
Enough to operate a boat and 3 barges at least.
And that's how they arrived, was via the barges, and not how they left, though. They left on foot.
Okay.
And
and
they headed west, which would have been upstream.
Right. So, I mean, it makes sense that the boats would be faster to get here than to leave.
we do have to deal with the fact that Yawan is innocent. Well,
Do we?
Is he?
innocent's a strong word, but
We're
Perhaps not
pretty
in
sure that he didn't kill the midwife. I think that's,
Yeah,
that's
I
the
think
extent
it's safe to
of what we
say.
can say at this point.
Unless there's things about Yawn we didn't know.
Hmm.
yeah.
All right, well,
If you guys want to get a bed at Three Skulls, if you want, if Aldrich wants to rest this quarter,
Yeah, I guess so. And then we'll get to go into the
It's probably not a
Vix.
bad idea.
make us late to dinner.
Mhm. Well, if you guys go and say, and then I'll keep watch over Aldrich, and then
Yeah, if I can go over to Vikes and see if it's okay if we eat a little later because Aldrich needs to sleep it off.
sure. So you want to do that?
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
All right. So let's have someone drop 5 copper.
I'll
to
do
pay
it since I'm
pay
getting
for
to
the
bed.
room. And let's have Aldrich sleep this quarter. And Sten, Vike's like, great. She needed some more time anyway. She was mad at me. I said an hour. So that's not an issue. So I just need quarter day activities for the other 3 of you.
How much is to train for skills? It's 5, right? Or it's
5 times the new
rank?
rating.
5 times the rank, yeah.
All
5
right.
times the new rank.
Yes.
Yeah. And is 3 the maximum still for skills?
I believe so.
Okay.
If you're cool with it, Craig, I'm gonna learn stealth for 5 experience. Since I
Yeah,
just
I'm
used
fine.
that.
You've been using that. So yeah.
Apparently, that's part of my job inside this party is thieving things.
Yep. So I'm definitely fine with you leveling it up with that XP spend based on how much thieving you did the last quarter day. So no issues there. So
Yeah.
Dave is practicing being sneaky. Vasilla's trying to get from one side of the house to the other without anybody noticing her.
I think I'm going to try and improve sharpshooter. Well, I say try. I already have the talent, so I can bring it up a rank.
Yep. Let's go ahead and spend the XP and let's
Yep.
bring
Oh,
your-
wait. No, dragons attack the town. We forgot, Stan.
God damn
Right
it.
in the middle.
So and you're out of arrows.
I just bought those.
What rank does that put you at sharpshooters?
That would put me at 2. I actually have enough to go up to 3. If I'm guessing I can only do 1 rank per
Yeah.
training
one,
session.
one rank per quarter day. So what does rank 2 of sharpshooter do for you?
Basically means I don't have any range penalties.
So skills can go up to rank
fancy.
5. It's just rank 3 is the limit during
At
character
character
creation.
creation. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I talked over you, Brian. What does rank 2 give you?
I don't take range penalties
Oh,
in
nice.
shooting. Yeah. Seems handy.
So that leaves me with Osric.
I guess I should figure something out and learn something. Should I
Have you
train
considered
something?
pack rat?
I have considered pack rat. I've also
Everybody's doing it.
considered maybe move. Another rank of move would be helpful because it turns out I can't parry monsters, so I have to dodge them.
Stupid rules.
Yeah, right. Like not being able to parry monsters. So, move would be 5 times.
Yeah, 5 times whatever.
So
you're
it's
trying to
5
do.
for the rank 1, and then.
What do you
10,
have in move right
15,
now?
20, 25.
I have a 2.
So you're gonna try to go to 3, so I'll be 15.
It would be, and I don't have to do like a roll because I
You
already know it.
Yeah.
Is that right?
You might only need rolls for talents too. I don't recall.
No, I'm pretty sure you need it for skills as well if you don't have
For a
them.
new skill, where you're
Yeah.
at rank 0.
You must have used the skill and succeeded without skill level during the session or be instructed by a teacher.
That's why I'm good at stealthing now. Suckers.
Yeah. You have to
I'm
actually
fine
use
with
the
you.
skill.
I'm fine with it,
But-
Jim. Go ahead and take it. Spend the
All right, we're gonna do that.
Okay.
That's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna spend 15 of 21, leaving 6.
All right.
Also
so I'm gonna
learning basic math.
burn that quarter day,
Da-da-da-da.
and the 4 of you show up late at Vikes.
I'll buy a bottle of wine off of, or like a
Right.
tankard of beer or something to
Yeah.
not show up empty-handed.
Yeah, knock off 2 copper for that. So he welcomes you in. He's got 3 children. They're younger, and his wife is younger as well. So there's a decent age gap between him and his wife. 2 of the children favor the mother, but you can see a little bit of Vike in them. The youngest child, though, there's nothing odd about the child other than looks very different than his 2 siblings and doesn't look anything like Vike and the mother. So that's the only thing that really stands out. She welcomes you in. They've got on the hearth, they've got this huge cauldron, which you can just as soon as you walk in, you could just smell beautiful venison stew, and invites you just to sit around the fire. And she serves you up, and Vike kind of talks about the day. With the kids there, you can see he's avoiding really kind of the major thing that happened that day. Talks about how the hunting has been, and says, and kind of indicating the children are here without saying it. Well, what I'm sure there's tales that you could share.
Ah, yes. Have you heard about the brave knight Gallivant?
No.
So, and I'll launch into a very exciting tale of
Okay.
of fierce loyalty and slaying of monsters and such.
Not Delve the Trickster.
So
Let's not say that name too much.
it's really just a nice cozy evening. So everybody has fed, we don't need to roll for food, we don't need to roll for drink. That's all been provided for you. And the fire's warm, the company is warm. Vike and his wife have built a warm home. And you have been invited in. At some point, Vike takes you out to, he calls it the barn, but it's a one-story shed. But you can see where he's cleared out and put the horses outside. He's got 2 horses and they're outside, and you can see he's kind of cleaned it up and kind of laid out the hay area for the 4 of you. And while the 2 of you are out there alone, and he says, you already know with the dead, and he points to the bell on the shed. If you're going to leave at any point, use the bell. So I would stay clear of 3 Skulls and Dead Man's. That's where most of the activity will be tonight.
Which way does the door face? I mean, is it like facing towards the graveyard, or
It faces south, away from the graveyard towards Pike's home.
okay? Could you see like either the standing stones or maybe the 3 Skulls from the doorway?
You could see 3 Skulls, yeah. But with the roof and stuff, it'd be a little tough to see up towards where the standing stones are. That'd be a little tough without getting outside.
Okay. And I'll ask him while we're here if he's noticed. I imagine he stays well inside when the dead are afield, but if he's noticed any activity among the standing stones at night.
No, I mean, it was not uncommon for some of the dead to go up there. And what their connection is to the Count, I don't know. But no, nothing odd up there outside of what I mentioned, when you asked about the pathway. I honestly didn't know exactly what had happened up there. You gave a lot more detail than the boy did.
So do you know, is the Count entombed up there, or was he in that big
Legend
crypt?
says him, his wife, and his child are in that crypt. And it there is talk that the curse of the Hollows is a result of the Count's failure to defend as promised. So he supposedly betrayed Zygofer during one of the battles with the demons, and Zygofer's punishment was for him to never rest. And supposedly he had sealed his wife, and his child there in the crypt. Who knows?
No. We're grateful for your generosity and your welcome here.
There's not enough good people in these lands.
One less today, I think.
I don't disagree. I wasn't close with her, but she always seemed like a kind soul. She delivered 2 of my children.
Well, hopefully she finds more peace than there's been around here lately.
And he kind of gives you a nod. Any other conversations that we want before we retire for the evening? Fat-bellied with carrots the size of your thumbs and venison that just melts as you taste it.
It's definitely venison, right, Craig?
It's a little like human gamey taste to it. It's got a Raven's sister.
Certain Soylent Green ambience
That's right.
to it.
No, it is without question venison, and just absolutely, and it's like a gravy almost. The stew itself, it's not a watered down broth whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was impressive.
Heaping praise on the cook.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I just imagine this is like a nice little like cutscene for a couple minutes where just like everything is nice and shiny and like the Hobbiton side of like oh yeah, there's a reason why you're fighting the bad guys, because like this is nice and wonderful, and like Vasila's chasing the kids around and like
and they love you. Oh, they love you. They just think you're just amazing because you're their size, but you're not a kid, and they know that.
I feel like Aldrich's probably talking to the wife about the about her recipe. just because to compound on his continuing learning of chef.
Oh, and she tells you the secret is the cauldron. Ness makes
Mhm.
all my cookware, and she takes you over to the cauldron and shows you. And yeah, she like
Proper
Mike does
seasoning
not
of the
talk to
cast
her about
iron.
stuff like this. So like the fact that you want to chew her ear
Mhm.
about this type of stuff is pretty amazing. Now, the one little detail I will offer, and we can talk about it if need be, is you do notice that she's a bit of a seamstress. And Aldrich, in your conversations with her, you see a stack of towels and aprons that she has off to the side, and you can see she's embroidering the emblem of the Three Skulls Tavern on them. So you can see a stack that are completed. You can see kind of one in progress, and you can see a stack of towels and aprons where there's no embroidery. So it looks like she's got a little bit of a assembly line going, right, where she and go and I'll just tell you notice that.
Yeah, no, I'd probably bring it up with her. So you've possibly found work making aprons for the Three Skulls.
Oh, I don't make the aprons, she says. She goes, but Olm recently has decided he wants to upgrade the look of Three Skulls. So he's hired me. And I've been trying to embroider some of his linens as well as the aprons that the kids wear.
That's beautiful work.
She kind of acknowledges that. To bed we go.
I think so.
Aldrich, keep watch.
Yep.
Before I go to bed, when I see Vic and not his kids or his wife, I'm gonna shake his hand like Stan would, which probably confuses him. Like, you've been really good to us, and it's been a really bad year for good people. So be careful, all right?
Well,
You
you'll
got
be
good
in a
kids.
situation. Thank you, and you'll be a situation where you can do this for others, and that's all we can do. This was done for me.
And I'll
All
wander
right,
off.
let's heal up.
He's doomed.
Yeah, basically, I'm like, sorry.
You want me to
Keep
throw a?
watch.
That's just me
Keep
telling
watch,
you
okay.
that you should have been careful.
Oh, that's not the right one.
It's too late for you now,
That's
but
the one.
I
Look at that.
appreciate your kindness.
I'll take it.
Look at you making your keep watch roll. I'm so proud of you.
got rid
Not
of that
wearing a helmet
Things are
really
coming,
helps.
Right? Six
So,
dice had to
coming
succeed
up,
eventually.
Aldrich.
I'm imagining a scene where we have Sten, Ostrich, and Vasilla curled up with their bedrolls, but also with a little bit of extra cushion from the hay. I'm imagining Aldrich staying awake inside this shed. I don't know if there's any level of guilt, the fact that you slept in a bed just earlier and now they're again sleeping on the ground. And as you're there, you start to hear the activity. You hear the sounds of the dead, the moans of the dead. You can hear clamoring happening at Three Skulls. And if you were to stand up and look, you can see about 4 or 5 of the dead just very ineffectively trying to break the barriers that have been put up on the tavern. But even from where you are, you can tell that, that there's little or no chance that they're going to be able to break through.
Mhm.
What does startle you a bit, though, as you're kind of watching that scene and you're looking to the southeast to look at Three Skulls, is you hear a high voice behind you singing, and you can tell it's a child's voice.
From the direction of the skulls?
From the opposite, so on the other
Okay.
side, towards the north side, towards the graveyard side of the shed.
Huh. Don't like that.
And it's a playful melody. You really have a hard time getting a sense of any of the words, but it sounds like a child singing, and it's a very like nursery rhyme, like dee 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 dee.
No, you should totally just go check it
Yeah,
out.
no, I don't think Aldrich wants anything to do with that. I think hearing that, I probably make sure the barn door is closed.
Maybe it's
I'm
Priscilla
done.
was singing
Tastes
earlier.
like
Maybe
bad
Yeah,
bed.
I make
the
sure
rest of the story.
Vasilla is in here. I take a quick head count of my sleeping compatriots. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, we're good there. Well, not without this hand.
Yeah, and you run to the shed, and you make sure it's closed, and there's a kind of a latch there, which you double check. And as you're walking back into the shed, and the shed is not very large, a little head peeks up in one of the windows. And it's strange. Because one minute you look, and it is kind of like a greenish, ghostly visage of a little girl. But then, almost as if you're blinking, you can see a slightly decomposed face of a child, and it kind of flashes between the two. And she goes, "Hey, hey."
I'll slowly and cautiously approach the window that she's trying to talk to me through, and I'm just gonna shh.
Do you want to play?
I need to stay with my friends, young one.
Oh, come on. Let's play.
I'm afraid I cannot.
Come outside.
Mm,
Come on.
Come and play with us, Aldrich. Forever.
I cannot. I'm staying in here.
It's a stories game.
Oh. What kind of story?
We tell stories. Come out.
Why can't you tell me the story from out there?
That's not how you play the game. Come on, I have it all set up.
I did not like this. No.
Do it.
No.
Think of how much you could learn.
God. Oh, no.
Come on. And her little hand, she kind of, and she must be standing on something, because she's not nearly tall enough to be reaching this level window. And she's got her little hand on
Floating
one part of it.
mysteriously.
And
Whatever.
she's kind of come on.
No,
I'll
little
meet
one.
you. Come outside.
God. Oh, I don't like it.
There's a bell. The bell is fine.
Aldrich will continue to insist. No, little one. Please try to stay calm. Like, I don't want to upset her.
I'll tell Dad if you don't come out and play.
My friends would be very disappointed if I left them.
My dad will be mad.
Who's your dad?
You don't want to meet Dad. Come on, I'm your friend. You'll be my friend. Well, quick story game. I'll let you win.
I don't even know your name. What is your name, little one?
I'm Ona.
Ona. My name is Aldrich.
Hi, Aldrich.
Never tell them your true name.
I didn't
Come
give her my
play,
full
Aldrich.
name.
Come play.
I can't come play, Ona. I'm sorry.
Oh, Aldrich.
No, it's getting worse.
I'll be your friend.
I'm sure you are a delightful friend, little Ona.
You're not going to come out and play.
I'm afraid I can't.
Just give that bell a safety ring for me, would you?
Hey! So she yells, hey! Yelling inside of the other three.
Shh.
No, so I want to play.
It's fine.
Hey!
I'm not gonna be good at it.
But you know,
Trying to think of a way I can
would.
like talk her down.
Okay. So you got manipulation. I think that's a skill.
Yeah, I'm not very good at it, and I'm trying to think of a human,
There's no like
tricksy
no
way to
occult.
get around that. Could I maybe? We're gonna try versatile or whatever the human trait is.
Okay, so spend a willpower for versatile, and I'm
Can I
dying to
do-
hear this one.
Can I do a lore check to think of anything I've read on how to calm, you know, almost like any parenting books that I might have read,
I thought we
Any
were going
diaries
with
or
Ghostbuster
journals?
books, but parenting might work too.
as
I'm
far as
okay
like
with that. Yeah, if you want to spend
talking
a
down
willpower,
a
Maybe
child.
you
roll into
remember
lore.
a story that
Exactly.
that Vasila told, and you tell it really badly.
or that something in between those two.
Right.
So I will let you do a manipulation via lore.
All right. We've spent our willpower. We're rolling, and we've got one success.
So what do we say to her? Do you know any stories?
You know, I have read a few stories in my time, and there's a really what was the Aldrich's gonna start talking about what was the king's name that's in the scepter?
Algarod.
Algarod. And I'm gonna start going over, kind of going in my head and making a narrative of the notes that I remember reading about him in Weatherstone.
So she
And
goes,
kind of
Algarod?
yes,
My story's about Algarod too.
really. Well, let me tell you what I know, and maybe you can add to what I know with what you know, and we can play this story game.
Fine.
I
This is
know
not
it's
how you
not
play the game.
it's not as fun, but this is what I can do right now.
There's no sticks.
Oh, I can get some sticks.
No, you got to do it out. And she's kind of pointing. I built the board. Fine. Tell me your story.
Okay. I'd probably
You-
go through a story about probably some kind of monster or demon that he defeated. One of the really interesting, notable ones.
So my story is Algarod fighting Zygofer.
Oh.
And Zygofer was promised by Nebula Nebula said, I'll protect the Hollows from Algarod.
And what happened?
He didn't.
No.
And he lied to Zygofer.
Well, that doesn't sound like a very good idea at all.
And you want to know how Zygofer found out?
How did Zygofer find out?
The Countess told Zygofer.
No.
Yeah.
Now, what was the Countess doing talking to Zygofer like that?
I don't know, but that was mean.
That
And
wasn't
now
very
they're
nice.
all up in the crypt.
Really?
So I think I won.
You know what? That was a very good story.
So you owe me a copper.
Oh, I will give her a
Winner
copper.
gets copper.
I'll flip a copper to her.
And you flip the copper.
Mhm.
And I'm imagining cinematic slow motion. We see her little hand like grip for it, and it's slow. So the coin passes by and she grabs it and she looks at her empty and she goes, bye.
Goodbye, Ona.
And she walks away.
As she walks away, Aldrich gets kind of It's like, all right,
tingling.
we can loosen up now.
All right, so I now have us the morning of the 26th. The three of you wake.
Did you all sleep well?
Did you make the special morning tea yet?
I don't know if Aldrich would have lit a fire in the barn.
No, but there is a knock at the door.
Okay. Aldrich could go open it while everyone's stretching.
So
Oh God!
the two preteens and then the 6 or 7-year-old little boy are there, and they've got food. They've got fresh coffee, and they've got food. And she says, "Mom doesn't have the kitchen ready,
Oh, that's
but she
quite all
told me
right,
to
young
bring
one.
this out."
Very much appreciated. Thank you.
Okay,
Oh,
so you guys are
thank
set for
you.
water and food today as well.
Awesome.
Cool. I will, as they're kind of bringing the stuff in, I will sort of gesture them over and give each of them a copper piece.
Oh, nice.
Just for
Really
excellent
are,
service.
grandfather. Here's
I'm
that
old
$100
Here's a
bill.
penny candy.
Heaven now.
Shakes their hand and has the copper in his hand, in his palm.
Yeah.
The youngest goes, "Can I tell Dad you gave me this?"
You can, but maybe it should be our little secret.
Okay.
I mean, if he asks you where you got it, you can tell him it was me. I don't want you to get in trouble.
Okay. So you see them scoot off, and they don't go back to the house. They go to the town, right? So they go right back.
There's a candy store somewhere.
Yeah, there's 3 copper pieces burning some holes in their hands.
Speaking of coppers, I think Aldrich's gonna go out and see where he flicked that copper that like went through her hand and see if it's
Found
there outside the window. He just kind of picks it up and looks at it.
That's
Pocket
a
it.
dead copper piece now.
It's a spooky copper. Does it have a little tarnish on it now, like an old penny?
So for clarity, is Aldrich sharing what happened that evening over breakfast?
Yeah, I think he'd ask how everyone slept, and assuming no one made any notes about waking up
It's
to.
fine, except for the horrible yelling.
The yelling
Well,
child.
since you mentioned that, he would go over his little game with the girl and his story about the crypt.
Oh, it's such a good game. You're learning.
Well,
Why would a storytelling game need sticks?
I don't know. I heard about a few.
That's the
with
weird part.
dice.
That's
But
the
that sounds like
strange part, I
witchcraft.
say. For sure.
You never played a storytelling game with the sticks? I mean, that's how you know whose turn it is.
Whoever's got the
Talking
biggest stick and
nice.
can whack the other people with it.
Oh, maybe
So-
they're playing Dread.
Oh yeah, hasn't been invented yet, Brian.
Oh, damn it. Okay. I hate getting
All right,
rich.
so it's morning. We have no shortage of untied threads out there. So I'm imagining a discussion between the 4 of you for how we're going to spend our day. And worst case scenario, the Rust brothers may be coming tomorrow, though it's not been clear how many days it was going to take for them before they come back. So you've got at least this day, and then you need to start getting nervous tomorrow. What is that discussion like between the 4 of you over breakfast?
So once the kids are gone, and it's just the 4 of us again. So if Algarod was the one that they didn't protect the hollows against, that's gonna be real relevant if we do anything messing around in that old crypt, because that thing, he says, pointing to the scepter, is going to attract a lot of attention.
And I want to note, I've got it like laid out on the ground, just kind of with our camp set, just chilling there.
And we know that Algarod was anti-demon?
I mean, we don't know where really anyone landed.
He was a king. And
He was
depending on who
opposed to
you talk to,
Zygofer.
right, that he was definitely opposed to Zygofer. So it really comes down to whether it's a pro Algarod story that you're hearing or a pro Zygofer story you're hearing.
And allegedly, somebody told us that Algarod had married Zygofer's daughter.
Correct.
Yes.
And we know that her daughter, right, and Zertome was the son, supposed son, at Amber's Peak. And the daughter's resting place, was that the caves that we were headed to before we got waylaid by some
thought that
random
was the
sickness from
sister.
Harpy Puke?
So that was Zertome's sister, which
Wait,
would also
Zertome's
be
sister or Zygofer's
Yes.
sister?
Zertome's sister.
Which
Son
would
of a
be
bitch.
Zygofer's daughter.
Right. Supposedly is entombed in the mines.
Can we get a genealogy chart before
Yeah,
next
no
session?
kidding.
Craig?
We need a family tree laid out.
Try running this goddamn game.
Hey, I'm proud of
Is
you.
that-
I'm proud of them that they came up with
is
a
that-
name that didn't start with Z. Okay, it was very.
At least one.
Right.
Is that Zertome the first or is that Zertome the younger?
So he was cursed to guard it, but he's angry at the Rust brothers, who we know consort with demons, and he's attacking, or at least his subjects are attacking the inns.
Well,
Do you think
the
that
inn-
something is hidden in the inns? Like they took
Maybe.
something and put it there for now before they could
Right.
come back?
Or it might be somehow tied to Ulm since he owns both of them now.
Yeah.
Can't imagine any connection to Ulm though.
Seems like such a stand-up fellow.
I wonder. I'm just thinking if the Count was charged to defend the Hollows and he didn't, and he can't rest because of that, what if he had another chance to defend the Hollows? Against the Ruth brothers.
I mean, that does seem likely to me.
I don't know if that's how curses work, but I seem to
Well-
remember I heard a story like that once.
There are several. One of them, and I will go on and tell you about curses. I think so. I think we either need to find out what's in these inns, or we need to find out what's in the tomb. But last time we
Or we
went,
just need to go.
I mean,
No, we can't just go.
I
Well,
get that it's creepy and weird, but
I mean, we don't want to just go because there are some good people in this town. But if we go poking around in the crypt of a long dead count, we might just bring something worse on them.
But are the undead attacking random people on the street, or are they just attacking the inns?
Yeah, and Aldrich saw that firsthand, at least for 3 skulls. He couldn't see the dead man's.
He's
From where he
very,
was.
very focused on the
Like,
on the
if they
3
were
skulls.
just, if whatever's in there was getting angry, was going to attack random citizens, it would have started, right?
Maybe.
At least, why would they just line up to beat on the wood? And we got to find out what the hell's going on with these barges, and we got to do it in a day.
Well, I don't think anybody's going to know what's going on with the barges until the Rust brothers come back because they're the ones that brought them.
Right? And they're going to be trying to take something.
So
Like, you don't.
the brothers tried to keep anybody from getting to that crypt entrance. Why? Are they trying to keep something in? Are they trying to keep people out?
Well, whatever they're trying to get out of it doesn't make sense to ruin the walkway if they're trying to get something out of it to put on a barge.
Well, no, I think they want something to stay there. Maybe they're just scared of the count.
I mean, he's an old guy. You're an old guy. You seem to be quite the charmer with the old men.
Wait,
Hell,
the
you already
count's
fought a
an old
dead
guy?
king.
Are we going up the hill? Is that what's happening? Is that
It's
I
kind
feel
of what
like
I'm seeing all
I feel like
signs.
I'm
poking
open to
around
better
in
ideas.
I feel
I
like
mean, we
poking
can-
around in the inn is not gonna get us.
I mean, we don't know what we're looking for. There's places, people's rooms and stuff we probably can't even get to.
Then somebody killed the midwife, right? Strangled her to death.
Mm-hmm.
Had to catch her by surprise. She was
Mm-hmm.
gifted, right?
Yeah.
So like, I didn't stop to examine where the hand marks were, the bruises were, but if it's from behind or in front, but it would be,
I wish we knew where her raven was. Not that any of us could talk to it, but at least know if it. I don't know. Maybe it
but
can lead us somewhere.
That's a Dalby and Raven, right? Whatever the hell those people are. Had golden eyes. I don't think it was hers as such.
As much as it was its own.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was clearly some sort of friend to her, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly. And I know your favorite golden-eyed minstrel isn't around, but she's seemed to try to steer us clear. She was as shocked as we were at the egg.
Mm. Craig, I think I'm gonna pack up my things such that they are and head to the Dead Man's Hand, which is the brewery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Are we sharing your intentions with anybody else, or are you just getting the F out of this?
Oh, sure. I'll share my intent. I'm gonna go have a
And before we
chat
split
with-
up and start acting, who wants to take the stick for today?
Oh no.
At least for the first quarter.
Fine, I'll take it.
All right.
And then I think we should have a quick conversation with Ohm before we decide to head up the
It
hill.
was agility and wits, right?
Oh, Sidewinder, if I've been mixing them up, is Three Skulls Yamun's place? Okay. Yeah. So Dead Man's is the inn. That's Olm's original
Oh,
place.
yes.
We'll just call them
I'm
the inn
sorry.
and the tavern.
Yeah,
That's
and the tavern is Three Skulls Tavern. That's my
Okay.
fault. Yeah, Yawan's old place is Three Skulls. Thanks, Sidewinder.
And there were 3 dwarves that came to visit old Olm, huh?
and they're all skulls now. Foreshadowing.
Look at that epic storytelling.
All right.
Okay, so we're headed to the Three Skulls then to
Yes.
have a chat with Ohm.
All right. So it's early morning. You guys are
Mhm.
well fed. Vike has one little last aside with you, Sten, and just says, hey, you don't know we're leaving.
Of course not. Why would I?
Okay. And he doesn't say like he was questioning you. It's just all
Right,
like,
right.
Don't let it slip, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And go ahead.
And I would ask him, you have enough supplies and everything?
Oh, yes, and I've stashed a wagon.
I'll
I did
take
it
back
about
those arrows.
4 or 5 days ago.
Okay.
So we're gonna walk to the wagon and then head out.
Well, be careful.
I will. Hollows will need a gamekeeper starting tomorrow.
This town is a little mad for me, but maybe I'll head out a little east after this, and maybe we'll cross paths again.
And he gives you a nod.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we are headed south back through the hollows again. And I've got it open here. Yeah, you were right, Sidewinder. I just looked it up in the book. Three Skulls was the tavern, which I knew. But I appreciate the heads
It's
up.
my fault.
So I confused everybody. All right.
All good.
So you guys head south towards Three Skulls, which was the first place you went to when you guys came back to the Hollows. And that's when you expected to see Yalwyn behind the bar, but Olm was there. The door is wide open. There's a couple gentlemen drinking coffee on the porch. They give you a bit of a nod. And as you walk up to the porch, you look in. There's a few people eating breakfast. You can see Olm behind the cask bar. That's just a series of casks with wood planks on top of it. And you can see his daughter in her embroidered apron is serving the few patrons that are inside. And Olm looks up and kind of gives you a wave.
Morning.
Thirsty?
I'll have a
Always.
coffee.
I could do some coffee. Yeah.
So you guys belly up to the bar. He steps behind into the kitchen area, comes out with some coffee, and sets it in front of each of you. Super friendly. Did you stay at Dead Man's last night? I think I heard that you guys rented a room.
Let's go
Well,
with
Aldrich
yes.
got some shut eye there for sure.
Well,
apparently you had a couple too many of your brews.
Coffee's included, so
Oh.
these are on me.
A good man,
And-
Olm.
Vasilla, he slides a coffee towards you and kind of looks at you and is like, not sure whether you drink coffee or not. Like,
Oh yeah, it puts hair on your chest.
and he's kind of leaning over, Vasilla, as he slides it towards you. And as he's leaning over, you can see the apron he's wearing. He's wearing this beautiful white linen apron. It's got the little Three Skulls embroidery on it. And like a necklace or a pennant, kind of as he's leaning this way, kind of swings out from him. And you recognize it. It's the rust symbol.
Oh, damn it.
Let's go to credits.
No, double.
All right. Where do I start our little post-game conversation? I think we start with disappointed Jim.
Double darn it.
And it's not that it's disappointing. Like we kind of knew he was not on the level, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I expected him to be like full on, like wearing the Rust Brother chain.
Well, to be fair, he might be one of those guys who's like not a, burying bodies under the foundation of the Washington Monument Freemason. He's just a guy that wears the ring and goes to parties. He may not be a real serious.
That could be.
Thanks for getting us canceled now, Brian. Jeez.
So, Brian, which of those do you think Olm is?
I don't know yet. I mean, I need to ask him more. I mean, I think I can see him being just sort of greedy enough to take it at face value. Oh, sure, I'll join your club. You guys made sure I got this and everything, but I'm not sure he's dumb enough to believe everything as he's presented it to us.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know yet.
Dave, what's going on?
I think he's the mole. I think he did it. I think he killed the midwife. I think he, certainly did. Like he wanted Yawen out of the way and framing him to get all the stuff. And we know that it's been implied, at least, that the brother, that the Rust brothers infiltrates places, right? Because they said they knew Oakheart, and so I don't think every one of them is running around with a giant freaking rusty chain on their necks. And just like there's a lot of shoe fits, right? Like there's a lot of like, despite what my cohorts here think, like there's a giant blinking green arrow, and maybe it's all just false leads, but like he's at least playing along. Like, it's not just like, oh darn, how did they ever think I was possibly involved in this? I'm completely innocent.
Nate,
like-
you're super quiet.
Well, yeah, you see, Alm is completely trustworthy on the up and up, and this whole thing is just a farce.
He's been framed.
Frame job.
Who put that there?
No, I mean, there's plenty of threads here, because I'm of the suspicion that that's probably Sturgis's. Well, the amulet we assume was Sturgis's that was on Nervia, making a whole travel all the way to our trustworthy innkeeper.
All right, so let's start with stars and wishes then, Nate. What was your star moment this session? Definitely a different pace than other sessions.
Yeah, kind of a push back as we kind of push into the next wave.
When were you fully in Forbidden Lands during this session?
Oh, I mean, the game with the kid. that had me nervous.
Okay.
that had me. I cannot leave the safety of this barn. If I do, bye.
Well, I almost had you. I was close. I could see you were thinking about it.
I thought about it hard, and I was like, that is not worth the risk.
I was like, 2 armed Aldrich would have taken that, like, no question.
Yeah,
before he lost his arm.
First visit to the Hollows Aldrich would have been very curious.
So
I was
a
actually
week ago.
Before he nearly killed us all with the magical disease.
a literal
All
week
in.
ago Aldrich.
Yeah, I was terrified that Aldrich was going to be, hey, little girl, let me show you a magic trick. And then the barn would explode.
I got your nose. Oh, shit. Let me put it back.
Fireball a child for fun.
All right. And then Nate wishes for the next session or two.
I want to enter that goddamn crypt.
You want to get in the crypt?
I want to enter the goddamn crypt.
All right.
I don't know why we went to the bar. I want to go to the crypt.
When were you most immersed, Brian? What was your star?
Oh, gosh. Honestly, I really loved the sort of moment of peace and domesticity, in Vike's house with that. That just, I mean, it's only been a few weeks, but God, it's been so long for these characters since they've had anything like that. And I mean, we know that the other shoe is waiting out there to drop on us, but having that night of relative calm was great.
How cool is it that because I found joy in that. I found joy in describing it and really, spending a lot of time emphasizing it was. I think it's cool that the five of us care enough about these characters that was significant.
Yeah, it's not just like we take a long rest.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. I think that's cool. I think that's cool. And it's a
for
tribute to
sure.
the five of us, quite frankly. How about wishes, Brian? What are you wishing for as a player in the next session or two?
I mean, I want answers, but I want the joy of discovering them. So that's, kind of standard. I also really do want to see what's going on with the crypt. I mean, it's
Notice
like
he didn't say he wants
you
to go
can't
into
just
it.
leave that. It's Chekhov's crypt. It's like,
Right?
we're gonna have to go up there.
We know there's a monster in there somewhere, but we gotta see it.
The difference in phrasing is very important here. You did not say I wish to enter the crypt.
Right.
How about you, Jim?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
No, that was it.
Jim Star.
So
When were
I
you
think
most
my
immersed?
stars are somewhere between Vasilla sneaking into the
That
building
was good.
and creeping around to make sure no one else was there besides our poor dead friend, and of course the game with the little girl, because I really do think that like literally 3-4 days ago Aldrich was taking that bait and going, they'll be fine. They're just
Just
right
ring the
there in the
bell."
barn. We'll see what she has to say. It'll be fine. I'll probably come back.
Well, I love the fact that for me as the GM watching the torment of do I go, do I not go? I believe that was Aldrich that was torn there, not Nate, which was cool, right?
That's me playing Aldrich's brain,
Yeah.
like, ooh,
Yep.
this is really interesting, but
Yep.
no, that's a creepy child.
I mean, you
Yep.
picked your target well, Craig.
He's like, I knew he was going to be on watch. It was.
I mean, to be
The
fair,
trap
I think
was
if she had
snared.
targeted Vizilla, I think she'd have been out like a shot.
Oh,
It's
there's
a
no question
story
about
game.
All
and Sven
in.
and Ostrich are just like closing the
exactly.
shutters.
No, thank you.
Watch your fingers, kid.
It's like, no, this conversation is over.
All right. And then wishes, Jim.
So I think I want to avenge the midwife. I think that's important to find out who did this, and that she should have justice. I also am very curious about what's going on in the crypt.
We
But-
could have a crypt episode next episode, it sounds like.
But I don't feel like they're directly related, those two things.
Interesting.
And that's why I decided we're gonna sit in hem and haw for a bit, and I'm gonna go talk to Ohm, because I think he might know more about what's going on with Nervia.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I have on in big capital letters on my notes for next week. Ask Ulm about Nervia.
that's
I want to see
right,
what his
like,
reaction
it's a real shame about what happened to her. What's he say?
Uh-huh,
Right,
yeah.
that kind of thing is.
Did you
on the
hear
list.
about the midwife?
Mid what?
What are you talking
right,
about? Here, have some more coffee.
Dave, when were you most immersed? What was your star?
I think it was some combo of the storyteller game. It probably was the storyteller game, but I think I really like Dave. I think both Vasilla and Dave, the player, needed like the domesticity. Like we needed a good thing, right? Like everything has been shit, right? And so if there's not a good moment there, it's hard, right? So I think that was really important. And of course, like now I'm ready for Vic and his family to be dead, like immediately, because that's the way it goes. But yeah, I thought it was a good episode. It was different paced, but I liked. That was fun.
I'm good. I'm glad. I'm good. What?
You are good, Craig.
A little bit of both.
How about wishes, Dave?
You know, everyone's covered it. There's I think, and we'll get there. We'll handle both sides of that eventually. I think both the midwife Ohm side and the crypt side. But I'm enjoying finding out about the world, right? Because it's a giant mystery, right? So
Yeah.
it's been really nice that we've had these like characterful stories been really enjoyable, and I think that's why we've all enjoyed the game so very much. But also, it's nice to have the wider world make more sense as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's a, that I just want that balance, I guess, and I think this is a good episode that shows that balance.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a lore dump, but hopefully not too much. You gotta be careful with that, otherwise it becomes super ass boring. So one last comment for me is, I'm not surprised Osric seeking justice makes sense to me. It's consistent with what we've seen of Osric the character, I think, through all 21 episodes. I'm wondering Vasilla
Mhm.
and what is Vasilla doing as far as processing the death of this woman? Where is Vasilla
Yeah, she's on Vengeance
emotionally?
Train.
And
Yeah, she lives. Yeah, her she lives on Vengeance Train, right? So like, Ohm's dead. Ohm just doesn't know it yet, and like, and the rest of my hemming and hawing companions are soft in the head. Like,
so Vasilla's already seen she flipped to the last page and read the end of the book already.
yeah, like it's. I mean, I ever since that brother changed into a demon and ate a child, that like there's only one appropriate response to brothers, and there's no like in the middle.
Yeah,
You
that
know?
makes sense to me. All right, guys. Appreciate it. Love playing with you. We're gonna try to sneak at least one more session in before the holidays. We'll talk about scheduling. If you want to keep track of when episode 22 will be, make sure you're following us on Twitter, blah, 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 like, subscribe, yada, yada. I appreciate it, guys. I had a lot of fun.
Me too.
Cheers. Howdy, friends. Thank you for watching. All our content is archived and organized in playlists on the Third Floor Wars YouTube channel. Check it out. And if you could like, follow, subscribe, and even set your notifications to this channel on YouTube and Twitch, we'd appreciate it, and it'll make sure that you catch all of our content. I talk with creators, designers, and experts across the gaming landscape in every episode of our podcast, Tabletop Talk. Open up your favorite podcatcher and search for Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars. Support your creators. They make the content you love, and it's your support that makes it happen. If you want to help us, go to Third Floor Wars on patreon.com, and you can help us for as little as $1 a month. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Take care.